Today at Special Request, we talk about running combat in D20 games. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to The Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. And for today's quick tips for DMs, we're talking about running combat, and we're doing this at Special Request. When it comes to running combat, whether you're playing 5th edition, 3rd edition, D20 Modern, skipping right by 4th edition because screw that, or you're running Pathfinder or Starfinder, all of these D20 based games run by the same general rules. When it comes to running combat, for you new DMs out there, this can feel like a lot, but I promise you, like everything else with this game, it's actually fairly simple once you kind of get your hands around it. To begin with, when you're setting up for combat, the first thing you need to do is set the scene. Now, if you've got a little grid map kind of a thing with a layout and you have any kind of terrain or something to represent terrain, well, a lot of work is done for you. But if you're doing theater of the mind, you have to establish everything pretty quickly and clearly, like that there's a crackling campfire providing warmth and light that occupies a little 5-foot area. 15 feet away from that are a series of 4 tents, each large enough to hold 2 people comfortably. There's a guard whose route takes him through the camp between the tents and campfire and out to the right about 20 feet. On the other side of the tents is another guard who patrols out 20 feet to that side, and they come through at alternating times through the camp. Now, once you have all of that set, you've established that there are 2 guards up, there are several tents set up with other people sleeping inside. You now determine if there's going to be a surprise round. Most often, this is going to be the players trying to slip up onto that camp in order to catch them in an ambush, where in 5th edition, that means that they'll have advantage against their opponents. In the other games, their opponents are going to be flat-footed against them, denied their dexterity bonus to their defense, several targets are lying prone. This is an advantageous position to be in. Now, to determine if there's going to be ambush, the players have to roll their stealth skills, or in 3rd edition and D20, they are rolling hide and move silent. This will be opposed by the guard's perception checks, or their spot and listen checks. If they succeed on those, then they get to participate in the surprise round with their full actions. If they don't, they're caught as flat-footed and unawares as everybody else. Then the players get to act with their full round actions. They get to do everything that they want to do for that round. Then you roll initiative for regular combat between the players and whoever's still left standing and surviving after that. Then, once you have initiative figured out, you take the top number, that person goes first, and then you go on descending downwards till you get to the very lowest number. Once that turns over, you just flip it around and start on over again. An exception to this is if a player wants to hold their action, or if you have an NPC hold their action. The most common reason for this is, say you have the player, or druid, or whatever full spellcaster. They are holding their spellcasting, they're waiting to see what's happening, because they know, believe, or suspect that there's another spellcaster in the enemy camp. They're holding their action so they can counterspell whatever other spells that enemy spellcasters throwing out there. You don't need them mucking up and providing assistance to their allies or screwing with your own team. So, a player will hold their action to counterspell on the same turn that the opponent is acting. This can happen for any number of other reasons, but that's probably going to be one of the most common. Now, that's actually fairly simple. That's easy enough right there, but something that you can do to make combat feel a little bit easier, or at least feel like you can get to it faster, have a sheet prepared ahead of time with each of the player character names on it. That way, you can just save yourself a bunch of time having to write all that out just before combat starts or right as it starts, and you can just write down their initiatives, and then you can write out the opponents, quick and easy, or at least comparatively quick and easy. If you know that there's a combat encounter about to happen or going to happen this session, it can be helpful to just have everything written out ahead of time. And then if the players manage to kill somebody off in the surprise round, you just cross them out right then and there and don't worry about it. Having that ready ahead of time just makes things go so much faster, and it's something I wish I would let myself do more often. But what do you think? Go on down into the comments below. Are there any other tips or tricks that you might recommend to new DMs out there? Let us know your thoughts and comments down below. And if you enjoyed today's video, go on down there and hit the like button, or hell, even if you disliked it, hit the dislike button. And if you're new here to the channel, go on down there and hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.